The government was caught pulling a mermaid out of the water. Reports and sightings of mermaids have become more frequent as of late, and the government wants to cover it up as much as they can. A man came across a pair of workers wearing these yellow hazmat suits near the edge of the water, poking and prodding at something that accidentally found itself along the rocky shores. At first he thought it was a person who was being saved from drowning, until he saw her green tail. The workers themselves seemed bewildered at what they came across, but began hoisting her out of the water and onto a sheet of sorts to cover her up. He was lucky enough that he wasn't noticed by them, and was able to record this entire encounter. No one knows what happened to this mermaid afterward, but considering the government is involved, probably nothing good came out of it. What do you think they did? A mermaid with a bizarre stamp was found on the side of the road. The government is at it again, and this time they accidentally left one behind. While the cameraman and his buddies were out exploring a nearby isolated area, they came across this weird, fleshy creature in the middle of a murky pond. Their first correct assumption was that it had to be a fish of sorts carried in from the tide from the nearby ocean. But what they discovered about this fish was even crazier. It had several arms up and down its body, with a weird fish tail that dangled beneath it. They got this insane close-up of its mouth, showing its rows of teeth and human-like tongue. Its eyes were bulging out from its side. But the most mysterious thing about this mermaid was the stamp it had in the middle of its body. Their guess was that it had to be done by the government. The entire bottom half of a mermaid was found along the beaches of Jamaica. It's not uncommon that sea creatures find themselves washed along our shores, many of them being deep-sea creatures like squids and oarfish. But for a mermaid tail, just the tail, to wash up in Jamaica is alarming. When it comes to the rumors about Jamaica and these creatures, there is always a story to tell when they discuss the hidden mysteries that surround Flat Bridge, a hotspot for mermaid sightings. And now, with their tail showing up, it just solidified those stories, making them all the more true. It looks like this tail has been there for a while too, all grayed and dried out, indicating that it's heavily in the decomposition process. But how did this mermaid lose her tail though? Did something rip it off? Was she nearly eaten alive by a shark? So many questions left unanswered about this bizarre encounter. This mermaid waved her tail right in the cameraman's face. While exploring the bottom of a lake to see what he could find, the person recording this video noticed that he was a lot further out than intended from shore, rendering him right in the middle of the lake. Uncomfortable that he was out this far, he felt himself begin to panic, looking around to see if there was anyone out there to come get him. His head kept bobbing beneath the waves, struggling to keep himself afloat as he was starting to become exhausted. When he thought that he was truly alone, that's when he noticed the green and yellow tail swim across his vision. Suddenly, the man felt a lot calmer, his anxieties leaving him as he found himself able to float back up with ease. Was she using her mermaid abilities to help him out? The last thing we see of her is her tail flicking as she swims away. Was she there to help him or to do something much worse? They tracked down the mermaid that had been kidnapping fishermen. Out in Israel, there had been reports of men going missing when they were out collecting their quotas for the day. One by one, men were reported being pulled down beneath the waves as they would lean over the edges of their boats. Some of the other crew members who watched this in action swore they saw a pair of arms reach out and drag them under. With this startling new discovery being uploaded to YouTube 11 years ago, two guys encountered the mermaid that was the cause of all of this. At first, they had mistaken it as a seal chilling along the rocks until her human-like head turned towards them. They couldn't believe their eyes at what they were looking at. Staring them down for a few seconds, the mermaid turns back towards the water, slithering away out of sight. What would you do if you found the troublemaker causing all of this havoc? Beautiful, enchanting, with a voice that is no match for a man or woman. It's 2025 after all. These deep-sea mermaids will show you no mercy. Let's check out these close encounters with these terrifying creatures. A brand new species of merfolk has been discovered in the Marianas Trench. This is by far the most terrifying mermaid we have covered on this channel to date. While researchers were exploring the deep ocean depths below, they came across this bizarre specimen that had gotten itself a little too close to their machines, accidentally injuring itself in the process. Taking this opportunity, however, they collected its body and brought it above the surface where they could do more tests on it. The video showcases its horrifying features. Its its milky white eyes, its bizarre jawline structure, its lack of nose. There are so many parts of this thing that doesn't make sense, and until somebody decides to leak more information about this creature, we may never know for sure. A whole colony of mermaids was seen migrating off the coast of South America. A couple of times out of the year, sea creatures like to come together to mate, reproduce, feed, etc. And that's also what's happening right here. At least 300 mermaids were spotted jumping through the waters, going more down south for the winter. It was a mesmerizing sight, watching their arms spread open wide as they dived and breached over and over again. Many people tried debunking this, saying that it was dolphins migrating, but no one had been able to debunk why they had arms spreading out wide. While the majority of the internet is thrilled with seeing so many mermaids, others are more skeptical with the thought that their sudden appearance is caused by the devastating changes within our planet. Why so many all at once, when before they were such hidden and mysterious creatures in the past? What are your thoughts on that? This mermaid fossil was hidden deep within a Japanese shrine for decades until now. How the story goes is this: a fisherman back in the years between 1736 and 1741 accidentally discovered this creature in one of its fishing nets, a stark contrast between it and the trout. Hoping that he could make a good sale out of it, he decided to put it up in his market that day. One person came across the stand and noticed it, finding the novelty within this creature and quickly buying it off the man. He took it home, where for years he kept it as a family heirloom deep within a temple that they owned. For decades, people had believed it to be a messenger from the god of the sea, worshipping this thing until scientists came about and checked it out for themselves. To this day, they still have no idea what it could be, leaving many to lean towards the idea that this mermaid is the real deal. A pure white mermaid with no face was discovered along the shores of Papua New Guinea. When this bizarre specimen made its way onto the beaches, scientists wanted to quickly call it nothing more than the remains of an unknown sea creature, not a mermaid. But that was the kicker. They couldn't identify what this thing was, and the people that found it, and the locals that crowded around it over time, all swear that it was a mermaid. It was horrifying upon closer inspection. Bits and pieces of unknown white stuff deteriorating away in the water and when it was picked up. The locals also wanted to take it upon themselves to bury the mysterious mermaid, thinking it would bring them peace and luck if they did so, out of fear that they would accidentally anger the god of the ocean. Scientists had no say in it and allowed them to do it, leaving it as one of the internet's greatest mysteries. P.T. Barnum took the world by storm with his very real mermaid show, known as the Fiji Mermaid. It became one of the most controversial attractions in the 19th century. In his autobiography, he describes this mermaid as an ugly, dried up, small specimen about 3 feet long. As the story goes with this discovery, it was apparently first discovered in Europe by another Japanese fisherman, and as it was being passed around, it then landed in the hands of Barnum, who used it as the world was slowly becoming obsessed with the mermaid phenomenon. But people were still incredibly skeptical about this, calling it a hoax and completely made by man. Barnum, however, allegedly had all these so-called scientific documents that proved its legitimacy. What do you think of it? Do you have any interesting mermaid footage? Send them to us and I'll be sure to talk about them in the next video.